Deus Vult, God wills it. Echoed through Europe, thousands of warriors marched, driven by faith, zeal, and a promise of salvation. What started as a papal decree evolved into a massive expeditionary clash of cultures, armies, and religions that would reshape the medieval world. This was the First Crusade, a holy war that altered the course of history forever. The roots of the First Crusade were complex, a tangled web of religious fervor, political ambition, and economic opportunity. At the heart of the war was the Christian quest to reclaim the Holy Land from Islamic rule. By the 11th century, Jerusalem and much of the surrounding region had fallen into the hands of Muslim powers, specifically the Seljuk Turks. For centuries, Christians had made pilgrimages to the holy city of Jerusalem, but the Seljuk takeover disrupted this flow, leading to reports of attacks on Christian pilgrims. These events stirred fears across Europe and heightened religious tensions. At the same time, the Byzantine Empire, once a dominant force in the eastern Mediterranean, was under increasing pressure from the Seljuks. In 1071, the Byzantine Emperor Romanos IV suffered a catastrophic defeat at the Battle of Manzikert, which opened the door for the Turks to push deeper into Asia Minor. Facing collapse, Emperor Alexios I Komnenos sent an urgent plea to the West for military aid. The West, though, had its own issues. Europe was fractured, with warring nobles and a church struggling to assert its authority. Pope Urban II saw the Byzantine plea as an opportunity and a chance not only to assist fellow Christians, but to unite Europe's warring factions under one divine cause, the liberation of Jerusalem. He issued a powerful call to arms at the Council of Clermont in 1095, urging Christians to take up the cross and join a holy war. The response was overwhelming, leading to the formation of the First Crusade. The Warlords and Leaders. The Crusader forces were led by a patchwork of European nobles, each with their own motivations and ambitions. Godfrey of Bouillon, a Frankish knight. He was one of the first to take the cross and eventually became the defender of the Holy Sepulchre, the ruler of Jerusalem after its capture. Godfrey was deeply pious, and his leadership was defined by a blend of religious devotion and military skill. Bohemond of Taranto, a Norman nobleman from southern Italy. Bohemond was a skilled and ambitious military leader. He saw the crusade as an opportunity to carve out his own territory in the east, and was instrumental in the capture of Antioch. Raymond IV of Toulouse, one of the wealthiest and most powerful noblemen of France, Raymond joined the crusade with both religious and political motives. He sought to expand his influence, and he was a key player throughout the campaign, often clashing with his fellow crusader leaders over strategy. Emperor Alexios I Komnenos, although not directly part of the Crusader army, the Byzantine emperor played a crucial role in the early stages of the campaign, providing logistical support and hoping to reclaim lost Byzantine territories. Tensions, however, would soon arise between the Crusaders and Byzantium over issues of loyalty and territorial control. Muslim leadership. Opposing the Crusaders were various Muslim leaders who controlled the fragmented Muslim states of the Levant. Chief among them was the Fatimid Caliphate in Egypt, which controlled Jerusalem at the time of the Crusaders' arrival, and various local Seljuk rulers, such as Kili Osman, the Sultan of Rum, who commanded forces in Asia Minor. The crusade was unlike any military campaign Europe had seen before. Thousands of knights, peasants, and even entire families took up the cross, leaving their homes behind for the uncertain journey to the Holy Land. The Crusaders' path was long and treacherous, and before they could even reach Jerusalem, they had to fight their way through hostile territories. The first major test came at Nicaea in 1097. The city was a stronghold of the Seljuk Turks, but after a protracted siege, the Crusaders managed to take it, thanks in part to Byzantine support. This victory emboldened the Crusaders, but it also planted seeds of distrust between the Crusaders and their Byzantine allies. From Nicaea, the Crusaders marched deeper into enemy territory, where they faced their greatest challenge yet, the siege of Antioch. 4 months, the Crusaders camped outside the city walls, suffering from hunger, disease, and constant attacks from the Muslim garrison. Morale was at an all-time low, but a daring night raid led by Bohemond opened the gates of the city. Antioch fell, but the victory was short-lived. A massive Muslim army, led by Kerboga of Mosul, soon arrived to relieve the city. The Crusaders, now trapped within Antioch, faced certain annihilation, but in a moment of religious fervor, a monk named Peter Bartholomew claimed to have discovered the Holy Lance, the spear that had pierced the side of Christ. This relic inspired the Crusaders to launch a desperate attack, and against all odds, they routed Kerboga's forces. The capture of Antioch was a turning point in the crusade, but it also deepened the divisions among the Crusader leaders, particularly between Bohemond and Raymond. In the summer of 1099, after 3 years of brutal campaigning, the Crusaders finally reached the walls of Jerusalem. Weakened by hunger, disease, and a grueling march through hostile lands, they faced a fortified city under Fatimid rule. Despite these challenges, their unwavering belief in their divine mission fueled them. After weeks of siege and the construction of siege towers, the Crusaders launched their final assault on July 15th. They breached the walls and flooded into the city, leading to a horrific massacre of Muslim and Jewish inhabitants. The streets of Jerusalem ran with blood, as the Crusaders, driven by religious zeal, took control of the holy city. The fall of Jerusalem marked the culmination of their long and arduous quest, but it left behind a legacy of violence and sorrow. Though they had achieved their goal, the massacre would become infamous, casting a shadow over their victory and forever linking the First Crusade to the bloodshed of that fateful day. The First Crusade, 1096 to 1099, was a unique blend of military strategy, religious fervor, and tactical adaptability. The Crusaders faced numerous challenges, from mountainous terrain in Asia Minor to the arid deserts of Syria and Palestine. Yet their unwavering belief in their divine mission kept them going despite hunger, disease, and fierce opposition. Key to their success was the division among Muslim rulers, which allowed the Crusaders to engage their enemies piecemeal. At the heart of their victory was their mastery of siege warfare. The Crusaders adapted to the local terrain, utilizing scarce resources to build massive siege towers during the siege of Jerusalem. These mobile wooden structures were critical in breaching the city's formidable defenses, enabling the Crusaders to attack the city walls while protecting their forces. Leaders like Godfrey of Bouillon and Raymond of Toulouse coordinated the final assault with precision, dividing responsibilities and focusing on multiple points of the city's walls. Perhaps more important than tactics, however, was the Crusaders' religious motivation. Their deep conviction that they were fighting a holy war gave them psychological resilience, even when supplies were scarce and victory seemed distant. Peter Desideria's vision, which urged them to march barefoot in penance around Jerusalem, inspired the Crusaders, strengthening their resolve. While the Crusaders faced a weakened and divided Muslim force, led by the Fatimids who controlled Jerusalem, they also engaged in psychological warfare. Their relentless faith and public rituals likely unnerved their opponents. When the Crusaders finally breached the city on July 15, 1099, the capture of Jerusalem ended in a brutal massacre, cementing their reputation as both devout warriors and relentless conquerors. This combination of military ingenuity, unwavering faith, and fortunate timing amidst Muslim disunity hid the First Crusader success, leaving a lasting and dramatic mark on the history of the region. The capture of Jerusalem marked the end of the First Crusade. but it was only the beginning of a centuries-long conflict between Christian and Muslim forces over control of the Holy Land. The Crusaders established several Crusader states in the region, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem, but their hold on the Holy Land would be constantly challenged in the years to come. The First Crusade remains one of the most significant events in medieval history, not just for its military impact, but for the way it reshaped the relationship between the Christian and Muslim worlds. It was a campaign born of religious fervor and political ambition, and it set the stage for future crusades, with all their triumphs and tragedies. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the First Crusade, please give us a like and hit the subscribe button for more fascinating stories of history's most epic battles. Let us know in the comments what battle you'd like us to cover next. And don't forget to share with your friends who love history as much as we do.